I feel like we've been on a positive upswing ever since we got Helios. Like, it's just so crappy thinking about like earlier to the beginning of the second half of the split, where we had so many like close games where we'd have like an 8K gold lead and then we just throw it. Because if we had won some of those games, then we'd be looking at like a secure playoff spot right now.
Welcome back to the North American LCS. I am Rivington Bison III, and joining me at the caster desk for our first 3 games is the only man I'd want to be by me in a knife fight, Joshua Jet-Leesman. We're kicking the day off with Evil Geniuses versus Complexity.
And Riv, this match will actually determine who our 7th place team is. And that becomes more important for these teams as they face a trip to the 2015 Spring Promotion Tournament, because it will give one of them a chance of who they get to face. The other guy is stuck with the team nobody wants to face, which is most likely going to be Coast.
A true story. And beyond sharing the goal of 7th place, both teams have a bottom lane that can and have carried their teams to victory in the past.
And Krepo has been playing like a man possessed this week. He's landed great skill shots to get Altec fed, to the point where Altec can kind of just be a one-man army. And of course, we look at the other side. ROBERTxLEE and Bubbadub. There's Krepo right there. ROBERTxLEE and Bubbadub, they get along like peas and carrots and have held their own against the best in the league. If Robert gets a lead, he can quickly become a beast on one of his go-to picks, Tristana, or really, he had a Caitlyn game yesterday that was quite good. So expect to see a couple focus bans and count on the junglers to look at the bottom of the map to set up a lot of ganks. And maybe we'll see some fireworks.
I hope we do. I hope we do. And just for old time's sake, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's going to be Evil Geniuses. That means Innox in the top lane, Helios roaming around in the jungle, Pobelter being a wild card in mid, Altec with 80 carry, and Krepo on support.
And on the red side, it is Complexity. Westrice in the top lane, Kez in the jungle, Prawley in mid lane, ROBERTxLEE on 80 carry, and Bubbadub on support.
We'll see if anything from EG can throw Complexity kind of off their gear here of what they want to pick in the early game. They were able to get a Kassadin 3rd pick down red side last time by kind of just putting out picks and bans either which way and really causing the opponent to forget that probably played Kassadin.
I mean, that was the COG game where Hotshot doesn't play Kassadin. Unfortunately for Complexity, Pobelter does play Kassadin, so the pick and ban phase will be a little bit more normal, I'd have to say, against these guys that have a lot of LCS champion pools.
We'll have to see.
I would say normal.
Well, whatever it is, late game is definitely an option that these teams love. They have had an hour-long matchup, an hour and 5 minutes to be exact, is one of the matchups they went for in week 7.
But the other games are pretty short.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Not too bad. Around 30 minutes on the other ones.
Yeah. If the game is 34 minutes or less, EG wins. If it's 60 minutes, Complexity's won that one.
Yeah.
Of course, the matchup stands at 2 wins for EG and 1 win for Complexity.
I'd love to even this one out here. And they're just kind of putting a last few in the win column towards the end of the season. The Maokai gets banned out. Played quite a bit yesterday by Westrice when he had the chance, or over the past 2 days, I should say.
Kind of unfortunate here for Complexity. Their dreams were dashed of playoffs when Curse defeated LMQ yesterday. And
who would have thunk it?
They kept up their end of the bargain by beating CLG, and this game could have actually been to put them in contention for a playoff spot, but with the Curse victory, now it's all about staying in 7th.
Definitely going to be a tough go for both teams. Complexity, well, I'd say EG is surging as well. 3 straight wins so far, looking to make it 4. Complexity only faltered against Cloud9, but have, like we said, found wins against Dig and Curse besides, so things are working out for both teams. It's can they find it on the last day of Super Week. This is the last bit that needs to be pretty much squeezed out.
It's the last game of the split for Complexity. EG will still have one later against LMQ. But it's been quite a growing experience for Complexity. They still feel pretty well accomplished after this. First pick Lulu, of course, most likely going to Innox in the top lane.
Safe for sure play, so nothing really dictated with the first pick here from Evil Geniuses. I don't see them being the one to do that. Complexity always has the trick up their sleeve. Kez may just grab an Elise for himself in the jungle to make it nice and easy. Westrice has quite a few options with what he's played. He has that Aurelia. The Gragas is still up. Nidalee's been banned out this time.
You know what? Robert hasn't really shown much Kog'Maw play.
No, he hasn't.
When we think about it.
Because he resorts to Twitch or Corki if he doesn't have the top Tristana or something.
Pretty much.
Illusion.
And with Trist-Ban and Kog'Maw left available, I really wonder if EG is going to get that sweet, sweet combo of Kog'Maw and Lulu. or if they want to pick it away and make Robert play it, even though he hasn't really shown a proficiency for that champion.
Figure Kez picking up his
Elise.
jungler.
Oh!
No.
Ah!
Say
He
Helios.
picked Elise right there.
You can have, yeah. I'd say it's a pretty high percentage if we went back to calculate that. But Syndra for Probably, blind picking his mid. Dude does that all the time, so that's not new. But the choice for Complexity to kind of pick that composition right now.
Yeah, probably trying to show some success on Syndra mid lane. When Complexity shows success, it is generally because they're able to win the lanes. So Syndra is kind of the lane bully of choice for people lately. And of course EG is going to pick that Kog'Maw.
Nicely done. They also take the Elise up. So Evelyn is there for Kez. Still has quite a good Evelyn. Really came in for Complexity playing on that one of the first times we saw him. Don't show me Kennen. That's mean. Complexity's gonna think about this for themselves here as they hover for the crowd. Jinx would be a pick. That's what Robert can go to if it's not gonna be Corky or Twitch off the top few AD carries.
Pretty much. It's still one that can have some nice late game power if they get going in the right way. I'd say it's a very minor drop off from the Kog'Maw Tristana duo of power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it put him at a bit of a disadvantage that they did lose the Cog. Cog has a lot of power.
Maybe they feel with the recent play, the power has kind of been coming somewhat from that mid lane, so they'll give Probably his pick first.
Here's the crazy thing, though,
decisions.
right? Like, EG gets to counter pick mid lane in a sense.
Yeah.
And they just get to pick Morg because Braum's been picked so early on. All right. Orianna for Pobelter. Surprised he didn't go for a Rise. That's what he's done in the past against Syndra.
That's a good call.
A little bit more.
Build up the magic resistance right away.
A little bit more shielding just in case for Altec, though, in this situation.
Smart
also,
plays.
maybe because I look at this Complexity lineup and it's really immobile. With the Jinx and the Syndra both kind of being backlines that can't dodge a Shockwave, there's a good chance he can catch two people in a Shockwave. Two important people in a Shockwave.
Right. What you got, Westrice? Going for the top lane.
Probably Gragas.
Already called for the Gragas once on the hover. They're just deciding if that's going to be the lock-in. So we have both teams here for our final day. First game of Super Week. The NA LCS already 11 weeks in. Teams battling it out for the last times that they get the chance. Like we said, EG's up 2-1 in the head-to-head. And both teams bring in pretty heavy AP compositions to the table here in this matchup.
And I would say a medium amount of marbles on the line here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last
like that.
split, actually, EG had a game against XGG to decide the 7th and 8th seed. And remember there, the loser of that game was most likely going to have to play LMQ in the promotion tournament. So the difference between 7th and 8th, pretty big sometimes. Coast is looking extremely good as well because they won both Challenger Series 1 and Series 2.
That was a dominating win last night.
Being 8th place is not something you want.
Just have to see what happens. A lot of games to go this week and a lot of things to find out. Before the game gets underway now, let's go ahead and check out how you've been voting. According to LOLesports.com, 54% of you think Evil Geniuses are going to take the W here.
That is one close vote. You can also vote on Twitter. Send the hashtag EGWin or the hashtag COLWin to @LOLesports. Although I'd recommend hashtagging COLWin only like 35 plus minutes into the game. It's going to be pretty long. We'll see, though.
This is true. Both teams are coming off a win yesterday on the backside of that, so have a little bit of momentum to work from there. Probably has something he can lead and control the game with. ROBERTxLEE has something they can control the lane with. The last time we really saw somebody going up against ROBERTxLEE, there was that lane swap, right? There's a CLG.
I almost feel like Complexity is going to have a pretty weak laning phase. The Kog'Maw Morgana, we saw that lane has a ton of potency. Especially if Cog can get to his Trinity Force early on in the game, because that's not the build path that the Jinx ends up going. So only if Kez can provide some sufficient gank pressure in that lane will it be a good lane for them. This could actually be a lane swap if Complexity really wants to get Jinx farmed.
Kez has been doing very well lately at being an early game menace. Then again, a lot of Evelyn players have kind of taken control here towards the end of the split, knowing how severe everything is and what everything means. Now onto the Rift, EG versus Complexity. Eyes on Innox as he starts to be the first one out of the base. Everybody's slow poking it today. This is a little different. Altec's going to go ahead and take the low road by himself and make sure he gets there early for any wards.
It is the first game of the day. A lot of these guys don't like getting up early. Got to shuttle to the studio around 9 in the morning sometimes.
9?
I know, right? We were here at 8. Come on.
Yeah, it happens. A little AD carry in the bottom lane as they take Polaroids of each other, getting ready for the battle. So Kog'Maw versus a Jinx. Definitely going to get some poke onto that Kog'Maw. We'll have to see how the black shields come in from Krepo. He's usually trying to get those dark bindings out quite a bit, running a lot of cooldown on his Morganas on that support role.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, Krepo has the 5% cooldown reduction right now. Looks like he brought it from his blue runes, actually, because he's sitting on only 30 magic resist, so more the merrier for binding.
Yeah.
Man. Ward.
Nope.
Oh, no, it sees. It sees. It's just barely in the brush.
Oh, did it? You're right. Yeah, that was the vision. Wow. Tricky. You know, I like the idea on Reddit. The trinket that places a brush. That was great. Yes. I like that. Do you think they're all in the middle of middle lane in the brush?
Where could they be? I don't like that idea so much.
Why?
I like the brush where they are.
What about a trinket that actually takes a brush out for a period of time?
Jeez, you mean a ward?
You could like mow the brush. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
And that's why you're the color. So here we are. Action finally begins right at the gate. We'll see what these guys have for each other. Bottom lane seems that it's going to be Altec trying to get a few more auto attacks out first. They really want that level 2. And Kaz does not wait. A level 2 gank. He flashes to initiate. The red buff is on, but it's not enough to keep Pobelter in range because he actually doesn't get that auto attack in.
Yeah, it didn't burn Pobelter's flash, but he's going to burn through both of his health potions really early. It does give Prawley a little bit of an upper hand in this lane, but it'll also expose him to a few counter ganks. Kez burning a lot there to burn through Pobelter's health potions.
Wow. Even with Altec and Krepo trying to hit it, yeah. You see Bubbadub and Robert getting level 2. And Bubbadub, whether it's Thresh, Morgana, and Braum, he will be aggressive, always trying to hit and gain brush control immediately. Altec fares at this point. He's at that 75% mark. That's actually great for a Kog'Maw if they don't want to go hard right now. They know they can take a lot of damage from Bubbadub and Robert with that concussive blows passive off of Winter's Bite. They're playing a little safe with a little bit of aggression as well. It's a good love-hate relationship down there.
You can see Krepo actually playing an interesting game there. He doesn't have Black Shield already. 2 levels in just because he wants more damage harassed from the lane, which will mean actually Altec has to be a little bit more respectful of the Braum passive. At least early on, Robert and Bubbadub have been able to shove this lane in, which will mean pretty good laning phase early on for them.
Kez very early likes to make his presence known in lanes. Once again, they're going in, see if they can blow the flash here, and they do. Nicely done. There's, not going to say another one, but a good successful hit on lane.
Kez playing very high risk, high reward right now. You can see only 9 CS 4 minutes in, but he's trying to put some lane pressure on his solo lanes, thinking he will catch up in the jungle later if things don't go well.
Mr. Consistent here. He wants to get another gank in. Pobelter wastes his last bit of mana there. He's going to have to call the ball back, and from lane to lane, 2 consecutive flashes now.
I was actually... Oh, binding.
Ooh, could get another flash out of this bottom lane. Bubbadub and Robert decide to go Altec. Beautiful focus, continuing onto ROBERTxLEE. And Bubbadub starts to retreat. EG likes the fact that they got that trade in the win, so they're going to hold that aggression.
A lot of nice damage there onto both of them. This could be the gank, though.
But that's the bait in. That's what a beautiful flash out. No, it does get him on the Ignite. Calculated in from the Ignite coming from Krepo. He grabs first blood. Altec does get the assist. And they blow the flash on ROBERTxLEE. The dominoes begin to fall down here.
So that is one of the reasons we thought we could see a lane swap here. Because you land the binding after you've gotten a little bit of pressure down on them, and they're able to get that kill. Even with Kez arriving a little bit late, they end up burning yet another flash. So they can continue to aggress down in that bottom lane. Plus this high risk, high reward is paying for the risk right now. Kez is falling pretty heavily far behind Helios.
This is really only helping Complexity for the fact that they know where Helios is, but Kez still not having fun with the situation overall.
He's got to get out of there. He does.
Nicely done.
Success. So, like, where is he?
It's good, though. It causes a bit of chaos,
Wow.
right? Pulls
Yeah.
people out of lane. It's not huge, but it helps.
This whole high risk, high reward jungle thing actually came about because I was talking to some people about FLICKR and how CLG's actually 3 for 3 in first bloods this week.
Right.
And generally, one of the things FLICKR has been doing is he's what some people would like to say cheesing people, but really he's just taking a lot of risks early on in the game, wasting a lot of time, and just almost over ganking. But it's something that LCS junglers have been so hesitant to do because of the risk of falling behind that it is catching a lot of the teams off guard. That's actually kind of similar to what Kez was doing this game, only Kez didn't get the first blood, which now we get to see why a lot of guys don't try to waste all that time with the early ganks, because if it doesn't work, it really hurts.
Well, so far, he's been getting good results on the flashes. Not finding the kills, though. Flashes aren't going to win you a game. You're not going to be able to take down your opponent. 700 gold for EG here within that first blood and the assist to go over. Looks like they give up on mid lane. Kez is hovering quite a bit from that top to mid. Now that there was a kill in the bottom, it doesn't seem like he's going to head back there too soon. They also have a massive amount of pink wards to stop him from getting anywhere, though. So EG could be looking after any aggression here to get that dragon right quick.
It's almost too many pink wards in the river there. They have 3.
Yeah.
They're bound to die the next time Kez walks into that sector of the map. But because they haven't seen him in a while, suspicions must be running high here about where Kez actually is.
All right, so here's the time on the map. All the players know. 7:15. Blues are coming back up depending on where the junglers started, and the wards say mid laners are going to be getting those blues. So this is the time we may actually see that dragon start to come up, or aggression finally towards back to the mid lane, I should say.
This is the point in the game where Kez has to farm to get back to a level 6 where his ganks are again threatening. And see, this is where probably going to see these pink wards. Maybe this is the mind game. Yeah, go back and get that. He'll see the pink ward, say, all right, cleared the pinks. And they're going to think they cleared out the river, because who would place 2 pink wards in the river?
Yeah. And 3's a crowd, so they'll get him even more. Trying to see what the experience levels are. Krepo actually very close to hitting 6 here.
Oh no. Kez is going to see it. No.
6
oh no!
hits. That is it. Can Krepo get in range? He wasted his flash just a bit ago for the fight. They're going to lock up Bubbadub as well. The caustic spittle, the living artillery. Krepo's going to go down valiantly for this one, but he's also denying Westrice kills here. Innox teleporting down at the perfect time, and look at this chase.
Oh, that's the whole team.
Kaz.
That
Here
is
comes
the whole
cavalry.
team.
More challengers approaching from the river. It's going to be Helios and Pobelter. Do they decide to fight? No, they turn tail. Complexity gets there first.
Wow, so actually right there, EG completely over-aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes, they had a big
time.
edge. Watch this. The Flame Chompers are down, and Altec decides to just flash over top of them, which was great and all because they were able to secure this double kill, but the teleport was coming in from behind them. That's why Krepo decided to run away. Innox did match the teleport, but it was a sweet ultimate there by Westrice to separate them into the turret. And then basically because Kez and Crawley won the roam war down there, they're a full screen ahead of Elise and Orianna. They end the fight before it's a big deal, and Complexity ends up making up for getting outplayed bottom lane by collapsing better.
Great play there. Helios going to do what he can now to clean up a bit, and EG's going to put themselves back into position. 3-3 now, 9.5 into the game. That evens up a bit of the gold as Complexity. Good fight in the bottom lane. Can EG regain Dragon, though? Complexity didn't even try for this. So, wow. EG's going to be in position.
Yep. Got the old friendly Dragon up right now. Complexity had all ran back to their bases. They know there's no teleport pressure, and Innox actually was down there just for the secure. So that's the type of thing they called from base. They said, all right, enough tomfoolery. Let's go get Dragon.
Good moves, though. Like to see these teams dictate the early game. The late game, where they decide not to make any decisions. But right now, they're doing perfect on that. We are going to see Altec deciding to go for the Shin first before the Phage. Having a little bit of aggression in that
More
lane.
damage.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure that first hit after he activates his W, it's for even more. Even just the Dark Binding is a whole bunch of harass because it means the next Kog'Maw ultimate guarantees on landing, and ROBERTxLEE just has to go back to base.
It is a great combination. And then you got to think EG breaks out of the lanes, and we have the comp that's been seen so much, this split of the Helios on Elise, or even anybody on Elise, and Morgana. All the bindings being able to catch people out. So many possibilities here, and we're just in the laning phase, 11 minutes in. Slowly gaining brush control. Krepo continues to work on Bubbadub and ROBERTxLEE in the bottom lane. Something they need to shut down. Complexity gets kills on those guys in the early game, and it's pretty much over for any team.
They want to counter gank this, but they got to be careful because Cinder packs too much of a punch.
Right, somebody's going down at least.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
Mainly just using the vision control to avoid the Eve, it appears. Krepo's coming to try and tip the scales in their favor.
Nicely done.
Guess is out of the way, he's gone. They saw him.
Yeah, now they see Krepo, they're going to know they were formulating a little too much tomfoolery. And they're going to back it up. Krepo goes back to the bottom lane. Altec safe on this. Interesting, without enough wards, that Complexity wouldn't just go hard on Altec here. Try to get him out of lane, try to pressure him.
He's scared of the Kog'Maw. He's still powerful right now. It's just a pickaxe that ROBERTxLEE's sitting on. He wants to wait for his BF sword. He's still at 1,270 gold. That last back was literally just a heal.
Pobelter not having too much fun, but you got to expect that. Cinder Bully, he's only about 20 CS down in his lane, just off of the Athene's Unholy Grail. Haven't seen too much after the ganks to the top lane. Kez really didn't focus on the flashes he had down. Now kind of hovering around mid lane, he may try to make another go at that one, but Pobelter may just be able to flash out again. Complexity kind of lets these things slip away that they have right in their grasp sometimes.
At least Westrice has a really big edge in that top lane.
That's true. 30 CS right now.
And the kill distribution on EG isn't spectacular. The fact that Krepo got 2 of those kills is suboptimal. Yet the pink core control for EG is strong, and if we think about the late game team fights, they are really built for success with all the shields they can put on COL, as well as how well Pobelter should be able to use shockwaves in these team fights.
Few hits onto Helios. Looks like both teams want to get some action going here. It's brewing in the middle. We're going to get back to the buffs. We'll see what Pobelter can provide for his team. Yeah, see Westrice on the outside here. Beautiful job. Agony's Embrace from Kez Helios nice to deter out of this fight, and that is going to be a Dark Binding onto Bubbadub. There it is. Wow, it actually hits him cross screen when he tries to flash out. Glacial Fissure hits the entire team, and that Soul Shackle locks up a lot. Bubbadub's going to get out with a good amount of HP, but you got to think here, Krepo picked up another kill for himself on this fight. Complexity tries to come in and clean up more, but Pobelter's going to be able to take down Westrice.
And when all is said and done, that's actually a 2 for 2. A pretty damn well-played fight by both sides, though. Prawley sneaking the kill by doing the Flash Alt Ignite, but that put him in range for Pobelter's Shockwave. And now it's all about who can push harder afterwards. EG has their solo laners up, and Complexity basically has their supports alive right now, which means a lot of turret damage and a lot of pressure.
Whoa. Pobelter had the mana, he might be able to go for another kill with a shield, but they go for the turret, the map pressure. They gain a nice little 2K gold lead. I feel like that small lead means a lot in this game. It's tight right now.
Complexity wanted to get the jump on them here, but Helios had some really sneaky moves, and the Black Shield stopping the stun made it so Prawley overcommitted for that kill. Yes, he still got it, and he got the ult up before Helios flashed away, which was beneficial. And Krepo not dying before his ultimate proc there was huge. Look at how long he got to live there, not only from the Spell Vamp, from the Soul Shackles detonating, but from Innox making it in range for the ultimate and the denial. Turned the table so EG could go 2 for 2 in that trade.
Evil Geniuses wanting to make it a 4-0 for themselves in the last 4 games. So far doing that right. 1 minute 15 on the Dragon. I don't think they're going to be able to go after that one as well with the amount of power.
If EG had a 4-0 Super Week at the end of the year, they've actually, prior to this Super Week, had been winless in Super Weeks this year. They were 0-4 in Week 1 and 0-4 in Week 7. Something about their mindset changed this week.
Nothing to lose mindset. Just playing great. It's working out for him right now. They can still get some back. And that from the 7th and 8th place. So we'll see what Complexity and Evil Geniuses have as the promotion tournament comes around at the end. But right now they're thinking of not being that last place team, getting the better choice of that in that decision. Right now, we're having a good say on that from Krepo, who may not want all the kills, but he's making the plays with the kills he's been given, which is really important, because if he were to just get the kills and not be initiating these fights or helping, it just falls to the wayside with all the money they've made.
He has 100% kill participation, and he's using that gold. You can see a Negatron cloak there to maybe build an early Locket of the Iron Solari. Although Westrice, with those early kills in the early Lichbane, is putting a bunch of pain on Innox here. With the Dragon being respawned, I wonder if Innox even bothers going back to that lane, or if he just runs for Dragon here.
Westrice is actually trying to hover that way already anyways. He may stay if the team has control over it.
He would probably be roaming top right now.
Does he think that he stayed? Or are they going to kill him when he gets there?
Yeah, they're probably wanting to kill him if he runs back to lane. No one saw Probably there, but I imagine when they see him even the mid lane, they're going to know something's up, as long as they communicate. It's the classic thing, a top laner or mid laner roams, the jungle covers. And that's why they're picking Dragon. They say, all right, he's top lane. Innox, watch your back, we're taking Dragon.
Well, as soon as they see him top lane.
I'm surprised Innox didn't run away, though. This seems foolish.
Innox gets stunned, goes down to Probably. He doesn't even have a chance to throw down the Wild Growth because it's not up. His turret goes down for a Dragon. They're going to trade that one off. Bubbadub and Robert trying to put a little something on the backside of EG's Dragon, but they're not even deterred off it, and they may take that.
Something was really broken with EG's lines of communication there, Riv, because the team knew that Probably was gone. That's why they went for the Dragon so freely, yet Innox stayed to die, and they end up losing 2 turrets off of it. It makes this trade beneficial for Complexity. They get turret back.
Very interesting back and forth nonetheless, for Probably to head up top. Complexity thought they could dictate something and push faster. They get a little bit of what they want, and now they have a chance to be going on inhibitor turrets. So overall, even on Baron's side, that's going to be nice for them. We've seen some quite early Barons this week from teams. Builds for the AD carries. Altec's finished up his Triforce. ROBERTxLEE, let's see how much cash money he has. Looking to back 1,000 on him, so he'll be close to that Infinity, I'd rather, quite soon.
Yeah, he still can't quite get it though. When you consider Trinity Force, Berserker Greaves on Altec, that's getting painful. It's already a 1,500 gold difference on the AD carries. Cosmod does not forgive. He has a gold lead. Unless, of course, Probably can get him, in which case you'll have to.
So we're saying Complexity didn't really work off those early flashes, but to that same effect, EG did a great job at playing safe and making sure those flashes didn't affect their early game. Able to come out strong now with a few plays in the bottom lane, and that rotation that Complexity had. EG knew they had to make some moves. So far, keeping themselves 2K gold ahead. Doing a great job of it.
And EG's moves have generally been predicated around the bottom lane, so Altec and Krepo making most of the action. Whereas, I mean, honestly, the early flashes that Kez was able to blow in the solo lanes did contribute to these 2-1-2 scores that both of their solo laners have. So it is a give and take. It's not like Complexity or Kez had all failures with his early games. He had some successes in it.
Here we go, Jat. Bubbadub gets hit up. Auto attack. Krepo flashes in for another one, but the living artillery from Altec. He's off on the side, gets a kill for himself. Nicely done, and EG starts to take control. These are the picks they needed. It's those bindings. It's those cocoons.
What a curious game right now. Innox is playing with Westrice. How great can Westrice carry this game is going to be a big question.
Oh, wow. That was half his HP. He says, come back and play. And Innox says, no, I'll ask for free. Let me out.
But I feel like it would be not wise. Oh, Kez is hoping that the collapse comes.
Everybody's kind of fighting their own battle right now. They're walking into the other fight, and they're like, wait, you were fighting too? We should probably help each other. Now in the bottom lane, ROBERTxLEE's fighting out Helios. He doesn't look like
he's baiting for Krepo, though. If they can both get range here. Lead with the ult.
Oh, look at that. He turns around. He might be able to get it. Oh! Whoa! ROBERTxLEE hits all the buttons at once, and it doesn't work.
All right. Helios knew what was up there, but he at least had to flash. So.
Yeah.
ROBERTxLEE didn't bother burning his flash.
That's good steal on blue. EG, nice job to return that favor back to Complexity, I think.
Ooh, giving it to Pobelter.
There you
Smart
go.
move.
Nicely done. This game gets heated very quick, and then it just cools down. And then it just explodes for another quick second. Now we were at like 3-3. Now we're at 7-6.
He's been in that flank spot for so long. He's just scared of Altec and Pobelter. He reveals himself to those two guys, and you're going to get blown up so fast. He needs someone else to initiate to distract some cooldowns out. Then he'd be willing to go. Oh, man. Uh-oh.
I still see him. Here comes Westrice. The teleport's in from the backside. Westrice is going to focus on the fight with Innox. Innox probably not happy about that situation now as he has to party with Fat Man, and they're going to go mid lane. Moving down 1 minute and 50 seconds onto Dragon. Complexity is going to try to get a bit more map control.
And they're using Westrice as a terror right now to try and get that map control you speak about. Helios not that defensive yet, having to repel away from the assault that's coming down from Complexity. Still anyone's game.
Very quick game. Westrice, like we're saying, being omnipresent. Been able to shut down teleports for Innox and then walk to the top lane. Opportunities EG hasn't been able to capitalize on. Both teams doing a great job at getting a little bit back when their opponent is trying to get a little bit more. Complexity stays in it. 7-6, 1,000 gold behind. EG's pressure has come from the picks. Pobelter's been able to catch Bubbadub that one time, and then Krepo and Altec kind of moved on it. It's really what they're looking for until they have Dragon to get these ward fights we see, and those ward fights being won by the long-range attacks of EG. When everything goes tussled in the mid lane, you're going to Complexity coming out a little bit.
The Dragon fight will be so critical this game.
Yeah, I think the Dragon fight really is going to play in favor of Complexity here with their area of effect, but
well, that's
Shockwave changes everything sometimes.
That's the thing. Altec is kind of predicting that. A very early Negatron cloak by Altec. So his damage potential will be down, but it will also enhance the effectiveness of the shields EG throws on him if Complexity is able to focus. I really wonder if the lack of damage will come into effect if he's not getting focused, or if it's going to be super key because Complexity is going to try and kill him with all their magic damage and will not be able to.
Still burns. It's got that red buff too, so it's going to be hurting pretty good in the long haul if you can keep the chase going on. See where they put this. Zanya is actually already out for Westrice. 2 items, 22 minutes. Very nice for himself. He's been having a great top lane.
And Innox doesn't even have his Void Staff yet after his Offense on Holy Grail. So a cheaper subset of items still not being completed. EG starting this Dragon, though, from a fairly spread out position. This will be critical, whether or not they can get a smart initiation or who can poke harder.
Krepo.
Oh, no!
Great position to get in. Oh, wow! That's what it was.
Again. Westrice made that play happen, and EG was all spread out. The Gragas close distance is massive. Complexity is going to take a lead here.
Very nicely done. Complexity getting the fight they wanted, as we said, at Dragon. It's probably going to be favor of them.
Oh, they wanted to try and get a kill off the back, though.
Good hit, good hit. They don't really know what they're walking
into. Away.
No, they're going to get Kez as well. Westrice thought his team was fine. Kez forced a flash. Oh my gosh! Wow! Quarterback Krepo coming in.
A 5-2-4 Morgana, who just built an easy large rod. Let's check out this catch. 2 solo laners trying to come across. Just porous ward control right there. A Syndra stun into a Westrice flash meant they were dead before they could react. That's what happens when you lose vision control around the Dragon Pit and try to pincer.
Boom. Oh, wow. ROBERTxLEE has Helios. Oh, wow, he's going to get him. They're going to have Innox here, too. ROBERTxLEE decides to back off. He feels like the fight from Helios triggers him too much. Man. Oh, wow.
Krepo had ROBERTxLEE in his sights. ROBERTxLEE said, no. He used to heal the run.
He's like, it's that guy that throws those bindings. You're going to flash and heal. Great plays coming out. Krepo making some things happen there for the team, and they're able to take a little bit more for what they're trying to shoot there.
This game has taken a strange turn. So,
a few times.
Yeah, Krepo has 7,600 gold right now.
5-2-4.
Innox has 6,900 gold. So, it's kind of like a carry Morgana with a support Lulu at this point in the game. If we're really considering things, they have both been supports in the past.
Yeah.
Of course, the Sightstone and the Boots of Mobility make him more supportive as far as damage goes, but don't let that fool you. Krepo's out for blood this game.
And when he starts playing like that, it's definitely a big tell that he will continue to play like that. The fearless Krepo is out to play today, and Complexity's seen a bit of it already. Gold only 400 off even after all of these fights. There's more of just that pick composition. If they were to land that, there's so much follow-up harass just from Altec and Helios if he wanted to dive over the wall. Choices, options, they seem like they're in pretty good control right now. Clearing out the mid waves, EG's gonna see what Complexity has for a bit of a mid push and a blue harass.
A lot of Negatron cloaks for EG as well as they walk in here because they know Prawley has completed his death cap. And those Cinder ultimates can still probably kill at this juncture in the game. So a very tenuous move here. Can they?
Oh! He got it. No, he didn't.
They forced
it was on Ori. I thought
sure.
I saw it on Altec.
Yeah, it ended up having to be smoked away by Kez. Otherwise, it would have been stolen. Sometimes you're just in the zone as a Morph, and all of your bindings seem to land. That's where Krepo is right now. It's crazy. He has been a part of all 9 kills, yet the rest of the team has such low kill participation.
Yeah.
Altec's just 6 of 9. Helios and Innox are at 1, and Pobelter's at 3. So it's just created Krepo this whole game.
There's few, not every support in the NA LCS will do it, but kind of like Kiwi Kid and Krepo are always on the roam in the early game. More so than not. You'll get a few supports at roam, but they're definitely playmakers. We saw Kiwi Kid with a few as well this week.
Every once in a while, a support can take over the game.
That's
true.
What
Krepo's trying to do right now. The game is still really close. Prawley and Westrice are doing their best to make sure Krepo can't take over the game.
Rabbit noodles on both sides for Pobelter and Prawley here. So we got big AP damage coming out from the mid lanes. Still waiting for that Void Staff onto Lulu. EG's not really pushing themselves into too many crazy situations. They're all right with just taking down that middle tier 2 turret. Let's see what they decide to do next. It's really just farm up for Altec. Why not? You have a Kog'Maw.
It's actually been pretty impressive how well Robert has farmed up.
Yeah,
during this downtime. He was down about 30 CS, but he has been power farming that bottom lane, and he's starting to reach some pretty respectable item thresholds.
Look at that. They put up an electric fence in the bottom lane for Altec. Cannot pass this point. Probably is not going to find a kill. He may find the farm, and Complexity has that bottom lane of turrets to take down. A small influx of gold. They're already ahead of 400 in that aspect.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
A little bit of map pressure now for the bottom lane they can toy with. Westrice may be happy to work that if he can get himself there with teleport up.
Kez would love to flank this, but both their solo laners are missing.
We're going to have a back here. Probably is going to have to go all the way home. He does have home guards coming out, so he could make an impact.
He's still in position. I mean, the solo laners are back at base now. They built home guards on it probably, so he'll be there fast. Westrice will be fast because he's Gragas. This is going to be an explosive fight. Unless they can jump on Kez first. They know something's up. Kez keeps his distance.
The Sixth Sense. They were like, something's going to be explosive.
There it is.
Hits him one. They got Pobelter. Nice hit. Oh, what a rocket coming in from ROBERTxLEE. He's still on the outside, getting excited with the rest of the team. Krepo goes down. Focus now onto the other side. A nice shot going on to Altec. Triple kill coming in for Jinx. ROBERTxLEE starts to get going now.
That was just the crazy amounts of burst that Complexity can throw out. And mainly, Kez had textbook positioning for E when you're trying to get into a fight. It is so hard sometimes to sneak around the back unsuspected and get beautiful ultimates like that. That was just so good. They're gonna get the Baron for that. Gets the ult on 3, but then look at just the amount of damage that happened there. I don't even think Prawley was a part of that. He killed someone off the side of the fight. That was just the Gragas Eve coming through.
Wow.
That was scary.
Complexity with, as you said, a very explosive fight. Helios manning up doing Dragon by himself here, but Complexity knows how to capitalize on advantages, and this could be very bad for EG. 4,000 gold instantly in that swing. EG looks to recuperate here.
It's going to be tricky. Robert's been able to farm up, and Westrice really feels on his game right now. I am very surprised as well that no one on EG opted to rush an Aegis or Locket of the Iron Solari, considering how wrecked they are getting by that AoE magic damage initiation team-wide. Those added stats could have turned that game. I mean, Krepo went for Azanya's Hourglass.
Just got it.
In that Helios just got it but it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little too late.
If Krepo delays his Zhonya's Hourglass, he gets the locket earlier. Of course, he wouldn't be able to pull off a Zhonya's ultimate that he got in the last fight. But what's more important in that case? Zoning with your ultimate or keeping your team breathing? It's triple.
Indeed it is.
Zhonya's is so nice on Morg. Like, it's one of the best items. And when you're ahead, you want to continue to carry. So I can't really fault them for the decision, but it was just a really lacking item for EG in that last fight. They have it now, but Complexity is also so much stronger that it might not matter.
And they're stealing away everything that they can. Trying to, at least. Helios was able to sneak away with that one. Complexity came in strong, and they're still trying to harass. 30 minutes in, ROBERTxLEE, as you said, getting going. On the outside, there's going to have to be a little bit more focus from EG in these fights. Pobelter went down very fast in that one, and he has been the fight changer with his shockwaves. Now pick up from blue here on Probably. With that lock with the Iron Slayer you were just talking about, maybe EG can get themselves into a position where they can keep Altec alive. He's quite big as he starts to maybe put up a static shiv. Probably a Phantom Dancer, though, for some attack speed and that critical attack.
Yeah, Innox just hasn't been...
Westrice.
It hasn't been Innox's game, that's for sure.
You could say that again.
I mean, in that last fight as well, they had the mid lane. It was kind of off on the side, so we didn't get to notice it. Innox was not with the team.
Yeah.
He ate a Syndra ult, flashed to ult someone on his team who then later died, and then died himself. So he didn't actually do a single point of damage in that fight.
Whoa! Krepo hits another binding. There's where the Zhonya comes into play a little bit better.
Oy! That's still alive, apparently.
That one. They're using a lot on this. I don't know if Complexity is actually going to continue filing into this fight. They have good damage. They have EG on the run. They're going to lose probably on that.
Binding from the fog. Was that over top the Wraith Wall?
Yeah. Over Wraith Wall, and then a huge ball move from Pobelter.
Jeez, they want to try and prevent this from happening. Look at the Kog'Maw damage coming through!
Altec is eating through Bubbadub. Stand behind me. Unbreakable as well. And they are forced to use Glacial Fissure on Evil Geniuses to get out. Bubbadub's ult down. ROBERTxLEE's rocket is also down from that last engage. So they're getting pushed around with this Baron buff.
A really spectacular catch there for EG as far as them staying relevant in this game.
They're ready for Kez. Three pink wards in their red side jungle, so they knew they could step out that far. They're not going to get hit again like they did in mid lane, where Complexity just kind of swung the game. EG, they learned.
They're going to hope they don't.
They hope they don't. They have the wards for it so far, at least on their bottom side.
The pink wards behind you in the right spot, because with so many turrets down him, 4 turrets to 3, especially in the mid lane, it's this huge open spot. They always have to be checking behind them to make sure they can catch you.
So it is actually going to be the Rabadons for Innox that he goes for.
Look at that. Look at the damage they got down on Kez there, just because Krepo landed another binding.
Not small. Spectral Cowl for him. He's getting ready for a Banshee's Veil himself. And be a little more protective in the fights, and he can give everybody else the shields. Complexity trying to get a bushwhack going on, but they're going to be figured out as they're hatching that ward right in the mid lane. Krepo, same spot.
He loves that spot.
Same spot.
His favorite place.
They got it warded this time, though.
Good idea.
Not again.
Very good idea to ward that spot. Say, Krepo, stop.
He's making plays. He doesn't have flash up. That's the only thing holding him back from not going over the wall and doing it himself at close range. Wards are cleared. Helios doing a great job with the team of keeping that, but Complexity says no. If we want to get a play, Evelyn has to be able to come in on this. Evelyn has to be able to get in. And they're going to make sure that's a possibility.
Complexity does have a habit of taking games like this, stretching them to 60 minutes, and then winning. Because it's still very close right now. And remember the significance of this match. Winner will guarantee themselves 7th. Loser will be stuck in 8th. It is the last game of the split for Complexity, second to last for EG. But just because of the way the head-to-heads work, and all that fancy math, the winner takes 7th.
Always seems to be a surge at the end for teams. What happens if the surge was in the middle?
I know, right?
Who would it have been against? Would it have been a week of top-tier teams that they beat?
That's what Pobelter was talking about, actually, in our pregame video package. He just Thinks back to all those games where EG had gold beats and wasn't able to close games.
Yeah.
And if they had just been able to win those games, they'd be in the playoffs right now. But it was not to be. You get 28 games for a reason. Got to make them all count.
I'm going to talk to Cloud9 about that. They seem to be pretty good on that rule. This year, everybody's kind of
Crawley is hoping that someone would come and check that brush. He was trying to power up his ultimate by getting as many spheres on the ground as possible. But he can only do that for so long without a blue buff.
Kind of like stance
Back
dancing.
away.
Get yourself ready.
Speaking of which, he found a blue. That's good.
Charge all day, mana battery, thank you. Very nice control by Complexity here. No even thought of that from EG given over. They're gonna go see if they have a dragon to get for themselves.
They better kill that fast because Complexity is on the way.
Well, this isn't where EG has all those wards they did earlier, so it becomes much more dangerous for them to be in this position, Jap. Especially with Kaz being able to either just dive in from the front and have Westrice.
They're a little bit cut
in.
off here. Baron is about just spawned. They are going to have to wade through some dangerous territory
Westrice
that is
gonna
not
say no.
having wards on it right now. Jeez. I mean, Complexity could very well just rush this. And,
ooh.
all right, they didn't rush it. But there's no vision control for EG, so they got to be so careful.
Yeah, Complexity has to put on pressure now so Westrice doesn't get pinched, and they do a good job of saving his hide there for a quick second. Ooh, slides out of that. Got some
Whoever
grease
lands
on the
skill
feet.
shot. Cocoon on a priority target, Dark Binding on a priority target. Whether Crawley can catch something or just vision control. Right now, Complexity has the vision control. There goes Kez.
Kaz again, straight into the fight. These guys don't even really have an initiation from him, but he makes it happen. They're watching Krepo. They take down Krepo. Not enough damage comes from him. A great shockwave coming in. Can they follow up? Altec's on the backside, but he's not able to hit any shots left because Complexity is staying on the outside. They're not allowing that damage.
Complexity is so low, but they do have the numbers advantage in this fight. I don't know if EG has the tools to re-engage with Krepo down.
It's a lot of crowd control, and one of the big shields they're missing, especially if they hit a good Winter's Bite on someone and follow it up. ROBERTxLEE. He is not really in range to help everybody out on this one, so they're going to wait. Complexity is going to dictate mid lane here.
Yeah, they're so low, though. I mean, I think it was a good idea for Krepo to go in there and zone, but the team just didn't have the follow-up. So he ends up falling, and that means that EG can no longer aggress. He really is so pivotal for EG's teamfight success.
Yep.
That straight flash ult just wasn't completely advised. Everyone ends up just going back to base. Let's do that again.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Make it happen. Do we have to wait?
Probably a little bit.
Oh.
EG's got to get ward control. Maybe we're going to flip the tables here.
We're going to flip some tables.
Pissed off! Finish the game. Flip the tables.
No, we have another 40 minutes for that. We'll see. I've never actually flipped the table before.
I think I have, like, jokingly once.
You
It was
think you
really
have?
fine. I don't remember. It seems like something I would want to
I always just chalk that up to, like, I probably did it in a dream. I think I did. It was a maybe.
I've probably done that before. I wouldn't have flipped
I think
a table.
I flew once.
I wouldn't have flipped a table that was, like, well set up and had valuable things on
See,
it.
that's what I want to
That's
flip.
just reckless.
Oh, that's what you flip.
It would be satisfying.
All right. We'll set it up. It'll be something we do before Worlds, I promise. 39 minutes on the clock. Talking about flipping tables. These guys are trying to flip the score. Complexity has 4,000 of that in their lead so far. And they're working the last second-tier turret down bottom with a little bit of pressure on Baron here. Doesn't look like they're going to leave Westrice to a teleport game here. So they're going to go for the fight. Straight on. I'm liking it. We asked for it. They didn't make us wait too long.
They do have some nice vision inside there, but there's a lot of scouting tools by EG. Plus the black shield does make it much easier for them to scout. Innox is just still so far behind, it does make these fights a little bit more difficult.
2 full items, to be exact. And he had to throw home guards on early and kind of thwart out that recipe on his way to his next core item. It's been a tough game.
They're just trying to use him as wave management right now because they know he's not super important in team fights.
Yeah, perfect idea. And probably get, that's great because then you get Westrice out of the fight. That's a huge displacement
to,
that's been
Complexity
controlling
just-
Evil Geniuses.
Just runs to the Baron pit could be the other thing they do. Dangerous times right now.
See how they react. A little exchange between living artillery and some cocoons back and forth.
Yeah, they kill this fast. They kill this really fast. They get caught up by a scrying orb, though. Decide to back away.
Pressure. Wow, very low. 4,700 on Baron right now.
Got the teleport.
Baron's healing 4,800, so they're off it. And it looks like EG is getting the better of them on this one. It's Innox and the rest of the team trying to bait this one out.
I'm surprised it's Westrice behind EG right now. They would love it if it was Kez.
There's a dodge. So this gives EG something else to think about. You don't have a lot of fights.
EG is a little bit trapped.
That's how it happens. You don't have many fights where you're seeing everybody come from your two sides. Very hard to coordinate what's going on. They look for Kez, they drop him down. Shockwave onto ROBERTxLEE and try to shut it down. Pobelter trying to waltz it out there. He throws down the Zhonya's, but he gets Chompered immediately out of it. Probably doing what he can to keep alive. The Zhonya's goes down and Altec waits to get some food. Oh, Helios.
Still, that's a clean ace, and these are long death timers. EG has some minions. Let's see how many turrets they can actually get after that spectacular fight.
As this push goes in, watch.
I mean, so this fight wasn't immediately followed by Kez's ultimate. That's one of the big reasons EG took this one off. And this time, Krepo zoning for his team instead of ahead of his team. He downs the lockdown while Altec just goes off. And they end up getting the clean ace just for the cost of one member on their team. Pobelter's down. They might just win the game now. Let's check out this main screen.
Flipping them tables, chat. EG flips it right over onto Complexity. 42 minutes into the game. They got 1 second on a Braum, but you can't stand behind a Nexus. Gonna go down on this one.
Let's go real fast.
16 to 14. Takes it down. Evil Geniuses takes down Complexity.
It's a shame that EG waited until week 11 to turn on the Jets. They're now 3-0 in this Super Week. What?
Absolutely crazy.
What a Super Week for them. Their last game against LMQ, it will be nice for them to win that one as well. Although standings-wise will not have implications for them.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes a different stride. Evil Geniuses has had a week where they did scrim less, a little bit more focus on personal things and what they were doing, and it seems to have paid off so far.
Yeah, Krepo in particular was amazing that game. 100% kill participation. The peeling in that last fight, so critical for Altec to pick up those kills.
That's the one thing kind of talked about it getting scary, is when the support does get that many kills, the support has to stay a pivotal part of the game. Because you can fall behind when all that money goes on something that is staying on the back line. But he was flashing in. The Farv binding, as he flashed over mid-wall and just huffed that, taking down Kez. So nicely played. Krepo definitely on his game. It helps the rest of the team get into just that jovial position. We saw them at the beginning of the split, the team that was smiling all the time at Champion Select, pulling out the wins.
Yeah, and it's really disappointing end to the split for Complexity as well. After how far
That's true.
and how well they progressed to still end up in the 8th seed. So they will not have choice of who they play in the promotion tournament. Once those teams are actually decided, they'll end up playing the person or the team that nobody else wanted to play.
A spot they do know. However, they've been there before. They know the trials and tribulation of the promotion tournament and have fought through it. I don't see why they can't again. It seems like it's unfortunate for Complexity when we see a team that, you know, has roster. This is just not Complexity. I say a team that has roster changes back and forth. You try and repair things in a season and come back stronger. It's almost like the same thing with Evil Geniuses. They tried to get somebody who wasn't in school, couldn't, and they still kind of have to work with that. You know, teams always have a few things kind of knocking on the back door, and if you can't repair those, that prevents you from being one of the 1, 2, 3 spots.
It really could, and that looked like a pretty devastated Complexity team as well. They're going to have a long while to prepare for that promotion tournament that takes place in September. So they need to get on that right now is basically their next steps. It's been a lot of learning from the LCS season. They're definitely way stronger than the last time they were in the promotion tournament.
A true story. And this becomes kind of a hard part, too, for teams. You know, obviously stay together, be stronger, and look what happened towards the end of the split and find out why that happened. It's very hard to see. I mean, I always thought Cloud9 when they were winning the splits without, what, they lose 2 or 3 games.
Exactly.
Like, what happens when you do start losing? Can you figure out why? Because you guys have just won everything. You learn more when you lose. Truth be told.
Yep.
Different story this time. We'll see what they can do going to the promo tournaments. Let's send it over to Dash and Zyrene for a word with our winners.
Thanks, Riv. We want to welcome Krepo and Pobelter here after a victory there, which actually locks in that 7th place spot for you guys.
The dream.
Yeah, the dream. 7th, the dream. But Krepo, how does it feel, though, knowing that you have that choice when it comes to the relegation tournament?
Bittersweet. I mean, you don't want to be the team that has to choose like the second worst team to play against to keep your job. But, I mean, given starting today, like we had 8th and we could get 7th and we have 7th, so yay.
Looking at the relegations, do you guys feel confident about facing the challenger teams?
Yes, I feel pretty confident facing any of the amateur teams, really.
Okay. Krepo, same thoughts?
Yes. If
Okay.
Pobelter feels confident, I'm confident.
All right. That's a good place to be.
True support right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the picks and bans a little bit. We saw Kassadin left open, but you guys didn't lunge at it, and that's always been a big priority pick across all the splits. Why is that?
I think that Kassadin's fallen off a lot as teams get better at playing against it. Also, the W nerf and E nerf on Kassadin was kind of big, and so I think teams are starting to realize he's not like this instant first pick win anymore. There's a lot of counterplay available, and so running Kassadin and playing against it is always a risk. And so I think either team just chose not to take that risk because this match meant so much.
Yeah, and it also means like a couple bowl teams just leaving it open and then saying like, hey, actually nobody wants to play this champion. I leave it open, you guys leave it open. And then yeah, it actually has to come out of this cycle of permaban and has to be tried out a few times. And then we watched the stats as well. Complexity picked it a couple of times, but they didn't do all that well with it, so we thought it was worth the risk.
All right, and going back to picks and bans as well, you guys went with the Protect the Cogmog comp and just focused
Inspired by
on
CLG.
Yeah, all right. And you guys kind of focused on Altec, but Krepo, you had 100% kill participation, and you had so much map influence throughout the early, mid, and late game. Talk to me about Champions League and how you guys set yourself up to have success with that comp.
Well, yeah, Protect the Kog'Maw is pretty like straightforward. Everybody's beefy, like beefing up Kog'Maw, and then you speed him up, and he just reigns supreme. It's really hard to play into Gragas because full AP Gragas is basically like an 80 carry remover. He just flashes on you, ultis, and gets you. So I probably could have black shielded a little better in maybe some of the fights, but basically what ended up happening in the game is I hit a lot of binds on bottom, and that actually like got me confident and got me like my oil mobility boots as well. And because you're playing against an Eve, you don't need Sightstone. So instead of going like the Sightstone rush with like lower tier boots, you just get Moby boots, maybe Ruby Crystal, but you fill that with like 1 or 2 wards and then a pink ward, and you just roam around the map and you just try and put as much pressure as you can, and it worked out for us.
Now, Pobelter, Kez is known as a fairly passive jungler. He's just at least not quite as aggressive as others. So I want to pick your brain about his early aggression. He ganked 3 times in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, how do you play around that, though, when a player kind of diverts from their normal playstyle? You have an assumption about that. You get into game and you start to notice that all their patterns are changing.
Well, in scrims against Complexity like a few weeks ago, like we would just 2v2 scrap every time, and me and Helios would always come around on top, and then like the game would be really lopsided from there. So I think Kez really wanted to prevent that, and so he just kept coming around middle. And all you have to do in that case is, you know, play safe. You don't want to give any kills, because if you don't give any kills, then that jungler is put in a worse position, and your jungler is doing more effective things around the map.
All right, I want to jump to the final fight of the game here. We're going to have a replay for you guys on your screen. This is the game-deciding moment where they try to flank around you, and Westrice doesn't really have the best ultimate here, but walk me through this, Krepo.
So yeah, basically what they want to do is try to catch us off guard and just like, that's good flying by Eve, but the Westrice like follows up, just misses ulti, and by that time like the map is so open right now that Johnny's not getting touched and he's just getting shielded. Pope's doing really good at the bottom as well. Look, he's just 1v1ing Jinx. Even if he like ends up dying or Jinx is really low and he puts the Zhonya's, he draws 2 members to him, and 3 members with a missed Gragas ulti is not enough to ever kill Kog'Maw. So that's what you need to do. You need to like sacrifice yourself, prior fight as well. Like we got caught, I just flashed in and tried to disengage, because that's what you need to do. Like as long as anybody's alive, you need to die before Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw has to be the last man standing, and in like these later skirmishes, he will just destroy you 1v1.
Krepo, we already mentioned that you had 100% kill participation, but I just want a fun question here. What is it like? What is that feeling of being the support that's got 5, 6 kills on him and is starting to build those high damage items and looking like an actual AP carry?
It's fun to build Zhonya's because it helps you. Morg is really hard to play as support if you don't have Zhonya's, because you can flash in ulti and they'll just pop you. But having the ability to keep a couple people busy for a long time, is good. As well as prior to the game, I checked my match history, and it went from like 0-4, 0-5, and then suddenly had these like insane stats from last week. So that feels really good, and definitely helps me a lot.
I want to ask you a little bit about that, because when the kills go on the support, is it just better to rush that? Or if you're in a Kog'Maw composition like that, would it have been a little better for Altec to have them, or was it perfect?
I don't know, honestly. I think Altec was in a really good spot in the game. I don't think support should strive towards having 6 kills in a game.
That's not the goal. Don't go out and steal all the kills.
Don't do that. So, I don't know. Like, I used my gold. I think I used my gold as efficient as I could. I don't think Mikhail's would have been a better option here. I think Zhonya's definitely was after I got the early Negatron, so I could just play beefy up front. Because in Protected Kog'Maw comps, you don't really have really big tanks. So having support and jungler kind of combined to become this one tank is a good thing to have.
All right, final question, Pobelter. You guys have already locked in that 7th place spot, but you still have a game to play later today against LMQ. Is it time to play spoiler or just have some fun with that last match?
I think that match is still important to decide who ends up in first place, you know, whether it's C9 or LMQ, so we're not going to like troll away the match or anything. We'll still try our best and go for that 4-0 Super Week.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Anyway, guys, congratulations on the win. Best of luck in the match later today. Now we're going to take a quick break while we prep the Rift for our next match, Dignitas versus LMQ. Don't go anywhere. The action continues in just 3.5.
Hits him cross screen when he tries to flash out. Glacial Fissure hits the entire team, and that Soul Shackle locks up a lot. They're gonna get Kez as well. Westrice thought his team was fine. Kez forced to flash. Grab. Oh my gosh! Oh, nice. Who's your daddy? Who's watching butter? They got Pobelter. Nice hit. Oh, what a rock coming in from ROBERTxLEE. He's still on the outside, getting excited with the rest of the team. Krepo goes down. Focus now onto the other side. Look for Kez. They drop him down. Shockwave onto ROBERTxLEE and try to shut it down. Pobelter trying to waltz it out there. He throws down the Zhonya's, but he gets chompered immediately out of it.